Hello world, I'm the Frugal Millennial. If you have been a fan of this channel, you'll know that I've always talked about residential properties. Today, I'll be adding commercial properties to the mix and list some advantages and disadvantages of buying commercial properties over residential properties. And what is the current outlook of commercial properties in Australia? We all know Australia is going through a property boom. Our $8 trillion property market is on the surge, and it appears this increase will be going on for a while, with residential properties taking charge thanks to low interest rates and low supply. Commercial properties are going in the opposite direction. Since the pandemic, we have seen a lot of businesses close, switching to working from home scenarios rather than offices. This has left a lot of offices empty. Companies are now rethinking their use of space to minimize rental waste. And as a consequence of these factors, a lot of commercial properties are being sold off at a bargain. I myself hold a small office that I bought through a cash purchase a few years back. So these are my opinion, and it shouldn't be considered as financial advice, and I recommend you seek a professional before making any final financial commitment. The reason I own an office is because I like to diversify my portfolio, not just by buying in different areas, but also buying both commercial and residential. So what are the benefits of a commercial property over a residential property? Long lease terms. The commercial property leasing contracts are very different to that of the residential property contract. Most of you know that for a residential property, the lease is 1 year. The lease for commercial properties are usually between 2 to 20 years. Rental increases are written into the leasing contract. Because the contract terms are longer than residential properties, the yearly rental increase are written into most commercial property leases. This is so the rental income growth matches or exceeds that of inflation. The tenants pay for most of the outgoings in a commercial property. This includes water bill, gas, electricity, and other utilities. They pay for the majority of the body corporate fees, with the exception of building management fees. And most of the time, they have to pay for council rates. As a consequence of this, commercial properties give you high rental yields. Typically, and I say this with caution because the pandemic is atypical, typically the yield is 5 to 12%, which is 2 to 3 times than that of a residential property. However, with residential properties, after you factor in body corporate fees and council fees, you will be lucky just to break even. This makes commercial properties seem much more attractive than residential properties. Tenants pay the renovation cost. Some tenants will do renovation or modify your commercial space to fit their needs. And this doesn't come out of your pocket, it comes out of theirs. This increases the value of your commercial space. Property values is proportionate to rental increase. If the rental value of your commercial property increases, the value of your property will increase as well, because it makes the property more attractive to investors. This is very different to residential properties because with residential properties, you have not only investors competing in the purchasing market, but also people buying to live in it. Sometimes high rent doesn't equal to high property value in the residentials. Cons of having a commercial property. Now that I've gone through the pros of owning a commercial property, let's have a look at the negatives. The property that I have purchased was paid by cash, as it's harder to get loans for commercial properties, as it requires lower loan-to-value ratio or LVR. With residential properties, borrowers can borrow up to 90%, whereas commercial properties, you can get a loan for up to 70% of the property value. The main reason why commercial properties have long lease term is because it also has long vacancy periods. As mentioned before, commercial properties have long lease terms because it is harder to replace a commercial tenant, as not everyone's looking for a commercial space, but everyone needs a home to live in. Of course, this is not applicable to all types of asset classes such as medical clinics, which didn't close down during the pandemic. Furthermore, commercial properties are more vulnerable to economic shock, such as the pandemic. As mentioned, when people work from home, the office space seemed a bit redundant. Even before the pandemic, the commercial market was sensitive to changes in the economy and interest rate. When the interest rate rose, the vacancy also rose, which meant commercial property value fell. As mentioned before, property value increases is proportionate to rental increase. The same is true for the opposite. Property value decrease is proportionate to rental decrease. Right now, as we see a rise in vacancy rate in commercial properties, with the Property Council of Australia reporting that the vacancy is comparable to levels seen in 1997 at 11.7%, which is an increase from 9.6% 6 months ago. This is expected to climb even further in the next 2 years. As a consequence, the value of properties are expected to decrease. In fact, because I recently got a call from my real estate agent to see if I want to sell my office space for half the value that I purchased it for. For me, it's a no-brainer. I currently have a tenant who did end up negotiating a lease relief, but the yield is still good. Why would I sell it for half the price then? Then it hit me. If these real estate agents are making cold calls to everyone, someone's bound to agree to selling off their property for half the price. They are taking advantage of people's vulnerability and fear. And remember Warren Buffett's quote, "Sell when people are greedy and buy when people are fearful." I myself tried a few times to purchase a residential property during this pandemic, and to no avail, because there's way more competition than usual. Whilst everyone's looking to ride the residential property wave, the retail property market to me looks like a good opportunity to buy in the next year or so. We still haven't seen the full effect of the end to the stimulus and JobKeeper to the commercial market, and there's very little data coming out to estimate the true impact of the decrease in value. If you are looking to buy, I suggest you negotiate the price, because the combination of vacancy and the loss of money through paying outgoings is making vendors very nervous. Also, be creative with the space you have and market towards retail businesses that isn't affected by the pandemic. I know I'm not in a hurry to buy anything and I'm holding onto my office, but I'm still watching this space very closely. And if a good opportunity comes along, I will make a purchase, because I always think diversifying your portfolio is a good mantra to follow in property investing. And there's nothing worse than suffering FOMO when the market suddenly increases like it did with residential properties. That's it for this week. I hope you enjoyed that. And thank you to all the people that played along to my awful April Fool's joke this week. That was so much fun. If you haven't seen the video, go and check it out. Sorry if you thought I'm loaded. No, I don't have $20 million, but I do have a spoon business. No, I kid. If you're in the business of selling spoons though, comment below. I want to know how much you earn. Am I even close with $20 million? I really hope you enjoyed this video. Thumbs up if you like it, and subscribe to get more riveting videos such as these. Make sure also to get yourself some free stocks on Stake with the referral link below, which can be worth up to $150. Anyway, thanks for watching.